Welcome to the September 8th, 2020 episode of Reactive Consciousness, the in-depth podcast about what happened this week in our lives. I'm your host, vysethebold, and I can no longer wear white. Lotus Prince.
And I'm Lotus Prince, and I give zero shits about what color I wear on Labor Day.
But we have a lot of really interesting news. In fact, I kind of wish we had Dracologist on here because it directly pertains to a lot of the stuff that we were talking about. Maybe last week's episode on boomer shooters whetted your appetite for some of the stuff that is popping up this week. But we actually have two pretty big live events. One, obviously, much bigger and more relevant than the other, but the other one is still a pretty big deal. So first we're going to go over the Nintendo 35th Anniversary Direct. This is for celebrating the 35th anniversary of Super Mario Brothers.
Okay, good, because I was going to say, Nintendo's like 200 years old.
Well, and Mario is older than that, obviously, because he was in Donkey Kong.
Yeah, Donkey Kong.
And Luigi's older than that, because he was in regular Mario Brothers. But everybody forgets about
this whole event is a fraud.
What's that?
This whole event is a fraud.
It really is. But there was some really neat stuff announced at this. Of course, this was actually like basically a surprise event. I didn't even really see the announcement for it. I just went on YouTube on Monday morning, and all of a sudden it was like up. It was like this was posted an hour ago. I was like, oh shit. So or it wasn't on Monday. What day was it? I don't know. But this is like, there's some pretty big deals here, and also some heavy criticism from a lot of the fan community, but I think a lot of it is minor considering. Well,
I'm gonna run a joke into the ground,
yeah,
and ask where the new Smash character is.
Fuck off. You get one, but it is the biggest, fruitiest Fire Emblem character with a sword.
You'll get all the Smash characters you want, but we're reintroducing tripping. Yeah.
You get everything you want, and we release a patch that goes to everybody's GameCube and will not allow you to play Melee anymore.
Oh no.
It literally melts your GameCube controllers. How about that? But no, there was some really cool stuff here. It wasn't just like games. It was like, apparel and like cool accessories and things like that. And one of them was like a really interesting Game & Watch. They're doing like a new Game & Watch that is color. So it's not like just like one of those LCD ones that you would have had when you were a kid. That's similar to a calculator or Tiger Electronics game.
But as it happens, though, the Game & Watch character is jet black, and so is the octopus, so it's going to look the same anyway.
Well, no, this Game & Watch will actually play Super Mario Brothers, which is actually really neat. And it will also play Super Mario Brothers 2, the Japanese version, so the Lost Levels. So two Mario Brothers games, one that you may play a world of because it's too fucking hard.
Yeah, I was gonna say, now you can throw your controller across the room on the go.
But it's really cool. It's a Game & Watch, so it's small. It's certainly smaller than like a DS or a 3DS or whatever. And it's maybe like a little bit bigger than a credit card, that kind of thing. But it looks like it's really neat, and it also has like watch functionality, like an alarm functionality, just like the Game & Watch is used to, because it literally was a game and a watch.
Yeah, and what it's a very multi-layered name for the device. It works on so many levels.
There's lots of nuance there. But yeah, apparently there's like a whole bunch of like secret little features hidden in it, which is always something that Nintendo kind of hides in a lot of their things. So to make it a little bit more fun. Though some people, some of the really crunchy, nerdy folk were complaining about the shimmering, meaning like the pixel size isn't uniform. So there's like shimmer on the screen when you scroll left to right.
Why doesn't this play like an old Tiger Electronics handheld?
Well, it it's certainly better than that. Oh, and it does have an updated version of the original Game & Watch game, which is Ball on it.
Nice.
So it really is kind of 3 games. I mean, like,
is that the one where he's like a juggler?
Yeah, it's a juggler.
Okay, that's his up throw.
Yeah. So you're basically moving the arms to, keep the balls in the air. And that's actually a pretty fun game. Even though it's simplistic, it's still pretty fun. It's similar to the Peter Puppy level in Earthworm Jim 2. You remember that with the
yes.
marshmallow?
Every level in that game is hard, but that one's very hard.
I love that. Actually, I think that Earthworm Jim 2 is easier than Earthworm Jim 1. Yeah, but they're both pretty brutal. But yeah, this is really cool. I think it's neat. I won't be purchasing it, but I can totally understand why somebody would want it, for sure. But there's just so many ways to play the original Mario Brothers now. It's like a cool curio to keep on your shelf or whatever. But there's other and better ways to play the original Mario Brothers, so I'm going to be staying away from this one. The next one, though, I might not be able to resist. So Mario Kart Live, which is not like a typical Mario Kart game. So really, it's an alternate reality game for the Switch, which is really neat. So what they do is the package gives you a remote control Mario. Mario in his cart, and it has like a camera in it, so you can actually see like from behind his head, like while you're driving. Like it beams it to your Switch in handheld mode. And
yeah, super clever.
It's really, really neat, and like the character appears animated like on the screen because it's alternate reality, and you also interact with ghosts and computer-controlled characters that aren't physically there, but the remote control thing is. It's really neat. So when you get hit by hazards, like let's say if you get hit by a shell or something like that, your physical Mario Kart will stop, which is neat. And
that's pretty nuts.
Yeah. What's really cool is they give you a bunch of gates to set up around your house to signify where the track is going. You obviously need to have a little bit of space in order to perform this, but it's really neat. And they're also that you could also do a 2-player mode if you get the Luigi one as well.
I wonder what the range is if you could set up the gates like through your house and go to like different rooms and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine unless you had like a really spread out house. Like I have a townhouse, so like. We have like a decent amount of space, but like if I wanted to make it really big, I would want to go on other floors, and obviously that's impossible.
Yeah, I'm imagining like driving through like a hallway or something.
I imagine it's good, but not like ridiculous with range.
Can you go around your entire neighborhood?
I wouldn't want to.
Can you go on the real Koopa Troopa Beach?
The real Koopa Troopa Beach.
Lotus.
But I thought this was really neat. It's coming out in October of this year, and I think it will be very popular for Christmas time and holiday time. So. I think it will be very hard to obtain, maybe even more so for like the Luigi one. Because like it always tends to be more difficult to find like the second thing, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I'm a little worried about getting to find that, and this is like one of the things I'm most interested in from this event. Just because of how neat it is, and I just think it would be fun to even for adults to play. Like I would have killed to have something like this when I was a kid.
I want the Waluigi cart, and whenever you hit something, I want you to go wah.
Don't tease me, wah.
I seriously, unironically like Waluigi quite a bit.
I think he's great. And they also announced Super Mario All-Stars, the NES game, or this Super NES game.
So there's your lost levels, although that is the Super Nintendo version of it.
Yeah. So the original versions of Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3 and Lost Levels, aka 2, are on the NES app already for Switch, but Super Mario All Stars, which is the updates, is not on there yet, and they announced that.
Yeah, and that's like the
cool.
Super Nintendo versions of those games.
Yeah, it should be noted that like I think a lot of the graphical updates were nice, like the way that it made it look, and there's some quality of life stuff in there, like saving ability and things like that, like infinite continues and things like that. I think that's particularly very important for lost levels. You need infinite continues with that game, or else you just can't beat it.
It's like a troll game, and to get the real ending, which is just like
you can't do it.
Thank you. Yeah. You have to beat the game like 8 times.
No, nobody does that. I'm calling shenanigans on that. Even beating that game regular will take you forever because of how difficult that game is. It has one of the hardest last levels I've ever played in a game. I've beaten it, and I beat the Game Boy Color version of all things. But that's just something I did when I was young. You know what I mean? I won't go back to it. But yeah, this is really cool because I particularly like the Mario 3 remake on this because I think it fits the best because the other games kind of have different physics than their original counterparts, and the physics are most similar to Super Mario 3's.
And also even the look, because Mario 1 and 3 look quite different from each other, and 3 is getting closer to what Mario would be. Like 3 is like the NES Mario wishing it were SNES Mario, so the graphical change is a pretty fitting thing for it.
Yeah, in fact, it does. The Mario 3 one looks the way you remember Mario 3 to look, which is pretty neat. When you think of it in your head, you're probably thinking of the All Stars version because the NES one and the SNES one aren't that different in terms of proportions and things like that and colors. It just looks the same but a little bit better, that kind of thing. And I think Mario 3 really does benefit from a save file. Because that's a pretty long game. I mean, that's the reason why there are warp whistles in that game to begin with. But I mean, if I'm going through a game like that, I'm not going to want to warp through it unless I'm like speedrunning it. I'm going to want to play every single level because that's what I'm there for.
I mean, the reward of the game is playing it. Yeah. Like the warp whistles are more like, bet you didn't know this was in the game. Exactly. Like, what? I could just warp somewhere? That's crazy. But yeah, like if you want to play Mario 3, you don't want to play like 3 levels.
Yeah. And then the next thing was Super Mario Bros. 35, which was pretty interesting. I actually thought this is a pretty good concept. So they're kind of going on the back of Tetris 99 here, and they created a multiplayer Super Mario Bros. 1 style game where 35 players are playing all at once through levels and sending garbage to each other. Like you jump on a Goomba and you send it to the next person, that kind of thing.
That's pretty clever.
And I thought that was really neat. The thing is, it's going to only be around for a limited time, and I hate that crap. Especially since it's
amazing
game.
That like after like 40 years, well, more than 40 years really, but 40 years of like Nintendo games, and with how long the video game industry has been out there and now has more direct communication with the fans and everything, it's amazing that people are still making like ephemeral games. Like, why would you do this?
Yeah, especially Nintendo, where like
I understand the concept of servers shutting down, like online games, like your PS2 online won't be here forever. Like, I get that, but the game just vanishing is just obnoxious.
Well, the thing is, like, Nintendo especially makes really fun and great products. Like that's the type of game that like anybody would like to play because it's easy to play and you can get on there, and I'm sure it's a lot of fun. And for something like that to go away, it really stinks.
And the same thing goes for Super Mario Run,
yeah.
Or like every video game. Like Japan really loves its cell phone games, but like that means that all of their games fucking disappear.
Yeah, and that's a big shame, especially like I said. I wouldn't care so much if it was like a shovelware product that wasn't being supported, but this is like one of the biggest
it's a Mario thing,
video game companies in the world, and they tend to make extremely polished and fun products. And it's a shame to see that attitude. I guess they say, hey, it's something special we're releasing just for a limited amount of time, just for fun. But I mean, why take it away from people at the same time?
Yeah, this is going to be one of those things that some archivist is going to come back in 20 years and go, did you know that there was this weird temporary Mario game that was only around for like a year? And everyone was like, what?
And the thing is, without a mainstream platform to run it on, like the Switch has millions of people playing on it at any given time. So you'll have plenty of people to populate these servers. But like if you get to the point where somebody is preserving this, on a homebrew service or something, good luck getting, nearly 35 people.
This is the new Satellaview. We're going to have to, like, rediscover that this existed after, like, years of research.
Yeah, it won't be able to be enjoyed as originally intended. It's kind of like anybody who preserved, like, a game like, Star Wars Galaxies or something like that. It's going to be empty,
Yeah.
It
well, I mean, if it's empty, that's one thing. Yeah. But, like, my problem is more, like, there are some things that can't be helped.
Yeah.
When a game is, like, online, like, it was never designed with single player in mind.
Sure.
But what concerns me more is just the game itself just vanishing.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not even like, well, it's the year 3000. The Switch servers have been down for a long time, but I mean, like, intentionally vanishing.
Yeah.
Like, really?
Nintendo is particularly bad at this. Like they have some stuff like that. Like you just can't get, like unless you pirate it. Like the DSiWare remake of Four Swords, for instance, and that's a Zelda game. I mean, like,
yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, like I guess you could play like the GBA version, but like the DSiWare one is like a lot better in a lot of it, respects. And like you just can't get it. Like their restored version of NES Donkey Kong, with the level that they took out, like you just can't get that.
Or I mean, this has been ported many times, but like the Phoenix Wright trilogy on WiiWare with like the altered soundtrack.
Sure. I mean, it just stinks. But I like the idea. I will be playing this. I mean, it's a freebie for anybody who has the online service, which is pretty much like a lot of people with the Switch have the online service because it's $20 a year. It's very reasonable, and you get a lot for your buck. I would actually say that you get more than a lot of other services, for only $20. So that's pretty awesome. And then to the last two big things. So I'm first going to go over this one. Super Mario 3D World has finally been announced for the Switch. This is one that we've been pining for, with extra content, an entire new coda to the end of the game called Bowser's Fury, plus online multiplayer, which is all fantastic news. Super Mario 3D World was locked to the Wii U. It was probably the best game for the Wii U, too. It is a really, really, really good Mario game, and it's really a shame that it got locked to a system that was largely unsuccessful. And this is a great opportunity for Switch players to experience this for the first time. They will sell tons of copies of this game, way more than it originally sold, because it's on the Switch this time around. This is, of course, the sequel to Super Mario 3D Land that was on the 3DS. It's also the initial appearance of the cat versions of of everybody, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
It was a clever power-up, too.
Yeah, they announced cat amiibos as well for Peach and Mario, which is pretty cool.
You know what they need to do is, I forgot what game this was. It might have even been a Switch game. My memory's hazy. But which game was it where there was the crown that, like...
Oh, mm-hmm. Yeah,
that turns you into a princess or whatever?
Yeah, so that that was on New Super Mario Bros. U on Switch. Yeah.
Oh, it was on Switch.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
Never mind. I was gonna say, well, now that this is being ported, they keep it. Never mind, wrong game. I was gonna say maybe now Bowsette could be real and just weird everybody out.
I mean, this is basically all of Nintendo's best Wii U games.
Actually, speaking of which, I don't know if I would say best, but they should port Nintendo Land. That game's all right.
I doubt it. Because it's basically a tech demo to show off the Wii U, and it's a really good celebration of Nintendo history, which is cool. And I like it, but I think that will remain to the Wii U. Plus, Game and Wario, I think, will definitely continue to be a Wii U title forever. So if you want to keep your Wii U's around for those two, I'm sure you can. Really, all that's remaining from Nintendo that I really would want to see is the HD remakes of the Zelda games.
Yeah, and Fatal Frame 5.
Fatal Frame 5's, a Koei Tecmo game, so...
Yeah, but I still want to see it ported.
Yeah.
There's only a couple games left.
Yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles X, I believe, will be coming. I just have a feeling.
that's another pretty glaring... I know it's not part of, the main series,
it'll come.
Story progression, but still.
I think it'll come, and with, updates and stuff to improve the game drastically.
Maybe this time the limited edition will come with a USB thing for your computer, little stuff on it that won't completely fuck up your drives.
or maybe it will actually have the HD texture pack already included.
Maybe I won't need to download half of my system's memory for the HD on an HD game.
Yeah.
I still have trouble believing that that's even real.
There's also a couple other things. I mean, there was the Nintendo Remix game, NES Remix was a really cool.
Yeah, that was.
game.
I forgot about that one. That was a good one.
Yeah, but I don't think that's ever leaving.
And this is ports of ports, but the entire DS Virtual Store.
Yeah. That's true. I think they'll have a Nintendo 64 app before long.
That would also be wonderful. I know there are a bunch of N64 games, but I'm mainly thinking Ogre Battle.
Oh yeah. Ogre Battle is a great game. Probably one of the best for the N64.
N64 is among the best Ogre Battle games.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Tactics Ogre though for the PSP is
that's also, I've heard, a high quality title.
Yeah, it's probably the best game in the series.
That's what's great. The worst game in the series is still good.
Yeah,
but 64 and PSP are just cream of the crop.
Cream of the crop.
Rising to the top.
Watch YouTube. Type in Macho Man Randy Savage Cream of the Crop. It's
just where does he produce all his coffee creamers from? I don't know.
It's just sleight of hand. It was just out of this world. But the big surprising announcement was that they announced Super Mario 3D All Stars, which includes 3 titles, which are essential Nintendo to essential Nintendo fandom. So,
and they're all emblematic
boomers
of the systems they were on.
Yeah, these are all bangers. This is Super Mario 64, which is the first N64 game to be ported to Switch. So that's
the first N64 game.
It's the first N64 game. Super Mario Galaxy, which I'm very happy to.
It's the big Mario game on the Wii.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, by the way, even in SD, because the Wii was not an HD console, that game could have fooled some people into thinking it was HD.
Oh,
if they went in completely blind, quick.
The textures
is this
just
HD
look
or
that
SD?
good.
It would take people a second. That game looked gorgeous.
The textures just look that good, and Mario Sunshine, which has never been ported to anything.
It's never been ported, and it's not the first Mario Brothers game on the GameCube that was Luigi's Mansion, but it's the Mario game on the GameCube.
And also probably one of the most underrated Mario games for
sure. Yeah, it was it was never.
It's an acquired taste game.
It was never panned, but it was kind of polarizing at the time because your main controls involved the FLUDD, the water spray gun on your back, rather than traditional Mario platforming. Traditional Mario platforming had like it showed up in like bonus levels when there were some levels you could go into to grab a secret star using the flood, and if you ever went back in, there'd be a second star that you would have to get without your flood, and it would be the more, or maybe it was the other way around. It was traditional platforming first and flood second, but the point is those were special parts of the game where it's like now you play like a regular Mario game. I mean, I've seen speedruns of the game where people try not using the hover nozzle, so basic movement is just Mario tech, but even so, it doesn't play as much like a traditional Mario game as you'd expect, and it's arguably cool for that reason, but some people were put off by it because they thought it would be Mario 64 on the GameCube.
Sure.
So it depends on what you're looking for, but it's a very high quality title.
For sure, and I also might add that along with the Mario 64 looks particularly good. What they upgraded all the textures, and they didn't upgrade the textures, but the resolution is really, really good. And the clarity is much clearer than on a stock N64. It doesn't have that blur filter going on, and I think the frame rate is really high. So it all looks good. They didn't do much in terms of facelifting or anything like that, but it just looks really good for what it is. But
you go ahead.
Oh, I'm moving on. So if you
no, I was just gonna say one thing I've seen people speculating about, although I would imagine only speedrunners really have reason to care, is whether the version that's on this collection is going to be what is known as the Shindo edition, because this is something that never made it out of Japan, but Mario 64 actually got an update in the form of, because patching didn't exist back then, but a new cartridge. Think of like The Legend of Zelda. There's the gold cartridge, which had red blood, and then the gray cartridge, which had green blood.
Sure.
That's a quote update. So Mario 64 got a couple of updates, some of which removed the glitches, which is what people really care about. Like, you cannot do the backwards long jump, which is what people what people use to exploit the infinite staircase and just bypass it before unlocking it for real.
So have you heard about what the Japanese name for that is? Because there's Japanese speedrunners have a different name for that particular glitch.
Not yet, but just real quick, I was also going to mention that the Shindo edition thing that would hit everybody equally is the addition of Rumble support, because Mario 64 came out before the Rumble Pack even existed. That came with Star Fox, but with this update, Mario 64 has Rumble support. So people are wondering if Mario 64 ported to the Switch is going to be the Shindo edition or not.
Sure.
But no, I never heard this though. What do Japanese players call it?
So they call it the butt warp, which is much succinct.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, that basically is what it is.
But I mean, it looks beautiful. I was going to move on to the other two games, which the enhancements are much more pronounced. So Sunshine and Galaxy both have genuine widescreen added, which means that they're not stretching the screen or anything. It's like full rendering and all that stuff in widescreen, which I don't believe either game had. Up to 1080p for both games for resolution wise, and also I think they both run at 60 frames per second, something like that. So
actually speaking of American and Japanese things again, I'm wondering which version of Sunshine it's going to be, or if Japan's going to get the Japanese version and America is going to get the American version, because the main difference I remember is do you remember that one level where there's the big electric manta ray attacking the hotel?
See, I don't know, because I haven't played these games, unfortunately.
Okay, because there's one
I've only played
level,
Mario 64, really.
There's one level where you go to the spooky haunted hotel, but this is before you actually enter it, where there's this big shadow of a manta ray, and you can't step on it or you get shocked, and you gotta spray it with your water, but when you do, it splits into half, and then half, and then half, until you have like 1,000 million little mantas running around. Sure. Oh no, I'm thinking of the wrong thing, although that's a kick-ass level. But the problem with that is, as it moves, it leaves, the gunk you're not allowed to stand on.
Oh, okay.
But there's a much later level in that world where you have to clean up the beach. You have to spray off all the gunk in some time limit. And in the American version, I think you need to get rid of like 90 or 95% of it. And then the Japanese version, I think it's like more strict. It's like 98 or 99%.
Yeah.
So like the little pixels you leave over like might matter. It's pretty demanding.
Wow.
So if the reason I know this is because if speedrunners choose to play the Japanese version, they're like, oh, this game's way faster in Japanese, except this one level's freaking hard. Like, so there's little. So I wonder if they're gonna throw the Japanese players a bone, or if they're just gonna give each region their version of the game anyway.
Well, if I know Nintendo, like Nintendo, a lot of times even has like post production like improvements done to games that they never released. So
yeah, maybe because like I'm also thinking. I mean, this isn't Nintendo, but like 3D Game Heroes, there are little tower defense mini games in that game, and the Japanese like beat the record time restriction is much more strict than the West got. So that's another thing. Like,
sure.
Do you think if there are Japanese players a bone if you ever remaster that game?
So they'll probably give them the one they're used to, which is usually what happens. I think this collection, it's going to be all on a collection for $60. Now, here's the criticism. I think this is at face value a fantastic collection. I mean, you have 3 fantastic games that are emblematic of Nintendo history and the systems that they've produced. Also, they're treating them very well. They are upgrading them and giving you the best versions of them without ruining them. They're not like adding things to it that are superfluous or even remaking these titles. They're upscaling them and making them run better. They're doing a great job. They even have if you want to, you can take off the Joy-Cons and use them kind of like the Wii controls if you would like.
For Galaxy?
For Galaxy, yeah. So you can point at the screen and collect the stars, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that's clever, because that was actually, I mean, it's a minor feature. You wave and you collect stars, but it's a great way to get your significant other or like your non-gamer friend or like your baby sibling to like play along without having them doing complicated platforming. It's just like, here, get some of these stars for me, like I'm helping, like that kind of thing. So it's that degree of participation. It allows participation of that kind, because like not every multiplayer game has players who are all at the same doing the same things in the game. So this is a nice way to like have someone like tag along, like kind of participate without being overly demanding.
Yeah. So this collection, though, does have a fair amount of criticism lobbed at it, and some of it I don't understand, but some of it I do. So I'll start with some of it that I don't understand. So this is going to be a $60 product. I have absolutely no problem with that.
Yeah. Most of what I've heard said it should be closer to like $40 because these are like a 15-year-old and like 10-year-old game. Like that I get, because the Nintendo games never go down in price. So like, I get it.
But am I gonna cry over it? Absolutely not.
I'm not gonna lose my mind over it. But like, it would have been nice if this weren't a full price thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, these are upscaled games, and like they did a fair amount of work to them, and like $20 a pop for like some of the best Mario games,
to be fair, like if you saw those games on GameStop shelves right now, they probably still would be going for $20 each.
Yeah, so I have really no problem with the price. The big criticism lobbed at this is it is a limited time product in almost every capacity.
Yeah, even digitally, which is also like
that's
Nintendo,
really
like,
bullshit.
What are you doing?
I don't understand.
Well, maybe it's a right issue. You never know if Nintendo owns Mario.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Apparently it's going to be available until what?
I think it was March 2021.
Yeah, which
I could be wrong, but I want to say March.
Yeah, which is really sucks, especially for people that can't get a hold of a Switch right now, which is a legitimate concern.
Oh no, fuck that! I don't have a Switch, and I've been accumulating Switch games.
Yeah, but like there are plenty of people right now that want a Switch and have not been able to purchase one because they sell out constantly.
Well, no, me too, but I'm still getting the game.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
But I mean, like,
yeah,
but this is a very limited release. It's like 6
habit.
months. Yeah.
Like most people aren't like us who will buy games for a system we don't own yet years ahead of time. We will do that. But most people aren't like that. They buy games along with the systems that they have. It's a very kind of anti-consumer practice, especially for the digital version to disappear. I don't understand that. I understand making the physical version a limited like special release. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. These are very mainstream games that a lot of people will want to play. It's
Mario 64 was like the most mainstream game of its time.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't some esoteric, it's not like Turrican or something like that. This is like a game that was ubiquitous with the era. So I don't agree with it in any form. I mean, Lotus and I right away pre-ordered the physical version of this because you kind of have to. Because it's going to be scalped to hell. Because it is a limited physical version of a limited digital product.
And even the games themselves kind of go for, well, maybe mainly Sunshine kind of go for a premium now.
Sure.
So like a limited, like an intentionally limited Mario game, like that's gonna, I don't know, that's just gonna be annoying to get later.
Yeah, it's gonna be really annoying. Sunshine is probably the one that was produced the least amount. I'm pretty confident in saying that if you look at the numbers sold of all three of those titles, Sunshine probably has the least amount produced. Because it was probably the least popular out of the three. I mean, Galaxy was a huge hit, and so was Mario 64. So, but Sunshine came out a lot later after the system had been released, and it also had a quirkier reception. So, but yeah, I just don't understand it. Why would you lock away, really important titles to your history?
This is some Disney shit.
Yeah,
like
really
setting
is.
up an arbitrary vault. Like, we're just not going to sell you our movie for like 3 years, so you like really want it by the time we finally let you have it.
It's really annoying.
Like, fuck you.
It's really annoying.
That's one thing. Like, I don't subscribe to Disney Plus, but that's one thing I like about Disney Plus. It's just like, here are the movies.
Yeah, Disney
like,
Plus
right.
is actually one of the best services, if you ask me, because the amount of content that they have on there, and like content that was previously difficult to get a hold of.
Yeah, fuck your vault. Here it is.
Yeah. For instance, I really love the DuckTales movie, and you couldn't get that on Blu-ray or.
You couldn't find that anywhere.
The DuckTales movie on DVD, I think, was a special release. You had to send away for it in the mail with like Disney points or something.
Yeah, I think I saw like a clip of that on TV
it's
or
a really
something,
good movie.
And like that was literally the last I saw of it from when I was like a little kid.
It's a really good movie, and it was locked away. And it was of course an underrated movie, but still, it's good quality. Plus, there are plenty of Duck fans now, especially more than ever now. So, anyway, it's available, in HD on Disney Plus, no problem now, which is for a reasonable amount of money, which is really good. But yeah, I mean, and my second criticism, which is a lesser criticism of this collection, is that it doesn't have Galaxy 2 on it. So Galaxy 2...
Well, that's everybody's criticism. It's like, how do you not have Galaxy 2?
I don't understand that.
There were theories. I had seen someone mention that this is like these are the NVIDIA ports of these three games that I think Nintendo had released to China at some point, and Galaxy 2 might not have been involved in that, so these were the ones that were ported up because it was easy to do. If that's true, then I could easily believe that as the reason.
Yeah.
But it's still like, how do you not have Galaxy 2?
Yeah, it's a glaring omission, especially considering that Galaxy 2 is considered to be one of the best Mario games ever made by a lot of people.
It's like when Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles came out. It was weird. It was like 0, 1, and 3. And you're like, really?
Yeah.
Now, it turns out that, oh, wait, there's another Chronicles game that has 2 and Code Veronica, and you're like, oh, there it is. But like,
it was
like,
the Jill game and the Claire game, essentially, right? So
yeah, but like at the time, it's like 0, 1, 3.
Yeah,
it isn't even like they were titled something like like, you know, Resident Evil 3, Nemesis, you know, like, it wasn't like they were just titles. It's 0, 1, 3. It's not like maybe they'll miss that.
No, a glaring omission,
2.
and it happens to be the most popular,
Yeah, by far
Resident
the most.
Evil
I was like,
game.
are you kidding me with this?
Yeah. Yeah, overall, I really liked this, but I absolutely understand some of the criticisms. I mean, the limited nature of a lot of these things, like that Game & Watch thing, is going to sell out, and you're not going to be able to find it. That Mario Kart...
but that's supposed to be like a special piece of collector's memorabilia. Like, you already said, you could find Super Mario Brothers. It's just like this little knick-knack that you're not going to be able to get.
The Mario Kart Live, though, like a lot like the I like the Lego thing that they have out right now, and also the Lego sets that they have out, the multiple Lego sets that they have out. And
the Dimensions?
No, like the Mario Lego thing that they have.
Oh yeah, like the Nintendo console.
Well, there's also the Nintendo console, and the one where you build your own Mario level. You can't find like the Mario.
I forgot about that
Mario
one.
set at all right now. Like. The Mario Kart Live, I think, is going to be very difficult to find because, historically speaking, I mean, like, they made a major update to the VR, what was it, Labo thing, and then all of a sudden Labo got popular because, like they released four sets, and it didn't get popular until the fourth set, and then all of a sudden you couldn't find it. The Ring Fit Adventure, you couldn't find it. You still can't find it. People want it. I'm
surprised that one's so hard to find because that's the new Wii balance board, Wii Fit. Like, everybody wants that.
Well, they probably thought that it would be mildly popular. They didn't bank on the fact that everybody was going to be stuck at home wanting to play it during COVID.
Yeah, but like, do they also not bank on their number one most popular title on the Wii?
All the time.
Being popular on the Switch as well?
all the time. They
I didn't think the exercise program that destroyed Wii sales was gonna continue to work. What?
Yeah, I don't know. Nintendo is old.
It's like the Mario ports. It's like the Super Mario 3D World. I didn't realize people would like the fucking Mario games that we have over a decade's worth of data on.
Nintendo's goofy about certain things. Like they will be very conservative about things that are seemingly obvious, but then they'll double down on things like producing every single fucking Animal Crossing character in amiibo form for some reason,
or releasing yet another Paper Mario game that plays completely different from its predecessor, no matter how many times fans say we just want them to be Paper Mario 64 and GameCube. Just do Paper Mario RPGs. That's all we want.
or
no more Sticker Star
or Star Fox. We just want a sequel to.
Yeah, Star Fox is the exact opposite.
Yeah.
What if we keep making the same fucking game and never doing anything different? Although, to Nintendo's credit, Star Fox Assault was different and nobody bought it.
Yeah, no, they've tried several times. I mean,
what if we put Star Fox on the Wii U and made it great, but then added a stupid and unnecessary control scheme that nobody likes, and anyone who plays that game does so in spite of the control scheme and not because of it?
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, that's a Wii U game that I didn't even factor in. But anyway, overall, very positive, but just like, what? I hope they're listening and being like, what the fuck? Like, come on, guys. Like, who's the guy over there that's like, let's make this limited? Like, slap him around.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, hear me out for a second.
Yeah, I don't get it.
What if we also made the digital version limited for no reason at all?
For literally no reason.
Like, this has to be a bet. Why the fuck would you, like... Well, no. I think someone else had theorized that maybe this is just a tease, and the games are later going to be available on online apps, which I could believe. Okay. But like, if that's true, then
get a move on.
If that's true, then okay.
We're several years into the lifespan of the Switch, and we don't even have like N64 or GBA stuff yet. I mean, let alone Wii games or GameCube games. Come on.
Yep.
Anyway, we got to move on because we have much more to cover. We have 3D Realms Deep live stream event. They announced a whole bunch of stuff, and for 3D Realms to announce a whole bunch of stuff all at once is like pretty crazy because they have.
I'm still waiting for Biomenace remaster or remake.
Well, 3D Realms doesn't have a good history of releasing things on time or anything, but lately they have, because they've been putting out some really cool boomer shooters that we of course talked about on our last episode of Corrective Consciousness, but they announced a whole bunch of stuff. I'm gonna get this out of the way. This was like the major contentious thing that they announced. They announced a game called Brutal Fate,
which is a great title based on a great game.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, so Brutal Fate is essentially a commercial version of or a commercial spiritual successor to Brutal Doom, which
it's made by the guy who made Brutal Doom,
which is and actually made by the guy. And that's the problem. Brutal Doom was a fantastic concept and really revitalized the Doom modding community.
And it's still, people still work on things like Brutal Doom to this day.
And all kinds of stuff. Project Brutality is a spin-off of that project run by somebody else that is very similar. I recommend you play that if you're going to play one. But the Brutal Doom guy, I'm not even going to give him any press.
Yeah, TLDR is a piece of shit. Let's just say he's a piece of shit.
He's a Holocaust denier, amongst
he was
other
kicked
things.
off. He was kicked off of Encyclopedia Dramatica, and that doesn't happen for anyone.
It's the Wikipedia for douchebags that kicked him
out.
Yeah,
when the douchebag community calls you a douchebag, that's a problem.
He's a big piece of crap.
So I'm sure Brutal Fate is legitimately good, but fuck it.
Yeah, it's kind of like when we were talking about Ion Fury, which is getting an expansion, by the way. It's made by some people that are just I can't support them. It's one thing to have differing political views, but these are people that are.
But this isn't a political view. It's just making fun of people.
It's making fun of people. Yeah, exactly. So I can't get down with that.
Yeah, and again, Ion Fury, from all things I've heard, is great, but oh well.
Yeah, I'm just not gonna do it. Apparently 3D Realms is okay with these things. Which you should clean your house up, man.
Ion Fury, I can buy a big company going
they're not neo-Nazis.
We patched it
Those
out.
guys aren't neo-Nazis, but
yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I can buy 3D Realms going we changed the posters, but Brutal Fate, I don't know how you go in on that.
Yeah, this guy's no good. But there were some other really cool stuff that was announced. Number one being on my list. Being Graven, which is a spiritual successor to Hexen, which is literally the thing I was talking about, wanting out of, from the last episode of Corrective.
You know what would have been great if it were called something like Graven, the sequel to Hexen.
But this is really cool because it not only is it the aesthetic and shooting style of Hexen, it also has the puzzle element, which no other game, no other boomer shooter is really trying. So,
Hexen was really different for that, and even today,
it still is.
Graven is the one game that tries doing that.
Yeah, so I'm very happy. It kind of has that Metroidvania-esque feel. So I'm very happy that this was announced, and I am looking forward to more of it. They also announced a game called Core Decay that I'm not too familiar with. I think it is what was it? It's a first-person immersive sim, very old school, and that looks like to be really fun. It looks like it kind of has elements of System Shock and a few like the original System Shock, which looks pretty neat. You explore a derelict space station, which is always a good setting in my book. So I'm that one looks pretty fun. They also announced a couple new Apogee games, which is pretty neat. They kind of released a with the Rise of the Triad remake, they dropped they put it under a separate Apogee label because Apogee is their original name before 3D
Does it
Realms.
still have the little tune like do 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 do?
But they are updating one of their classic games, which is Crystal Caves. They're putting it in HD and they're adding a 4th episode, which is really cool. I don't have much experience with that. I did play a lot of Commander Keen and Biomenace and original Duke Nukem, but Crystal Caves was another one of their big titles from that era.
Yeah, original Duke Nukem you just don't see anymore. I actually beat the original. Duke Nukem 2 I had to use codes for, but the original I think I beat for real.
Yeah, the 2's I think way too hard. It has just too much
it's a
going
brilliant
on.
game with brilliant music, but like, man, you die.
No, you just get killed by all the crap on the screen. But
Duke Nukem 1 though, it was like, I forgot it was Duke Nukem 1 or 2, but I want to say 1, where it was like, I'll take down these bad guys and be home in time for Oprah. It's like, yes.
But yeah.
And no, he's not, by the way, because he just keeps getting interrupted with more adventures. Like Duke Nukem 3D, that yellow ship you see crashing on the first level,
he was riding
that's
in
the
at
ship
the
that
end
took
of
you from level to level in Duke Nukem 2.
Yeah.
Like, you literally are on the
Seconds
way
away.
home from beating a final boss and you get shot down.
Yeah, it's literally seconds after the second game.
It's like, come on.
Yeah. But yeah, speaking of Rise of the Triad, the original OG game is getting a remastered port for all platforms, which
nice.
is really neat. There are a lot of fans of Rise of the Triad. It is basically the most advanced game running on the Wolfenstein 3D engine, I think.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of fun despite being on really old tech. So that's pretty neat. And also they announced that they are collaborating with Night Dive, which is always a good thing. Night Dive knocks it out of the park almost every single time. I can't think of anything that they botched.
Yeah, their whole thing is just resurrecting old PC games and making them playable again, and in some cases, like Turok, adding online support. That's amazing.
And that didn't even have a PC version, if I remember right. It was just an
No,
N64.
it did.
Oh, did it?
Nah, we've brought this on the podcast before. It did.
Oh, okay. Oops. But
yeah, everything Night Dive has done has had a PC version. The one half exception is Doom 64, but Night Dive, I believe, worked on the fan-made PC version, so they're still working on a PC version. But officially, Doom 64 was console only.
Yeah, I think they're also working on. I think I heard that they were working on Exhumed or Power Slave, the commercial version of that, which was also a fan project.
Okay.
No, a fan port of the
So
Saturn
yeah, so
game.
like Night Dive exclusively works on PC stuff, even if sometimes that PC stuff was not supposed to exist.
But yeah, they're doing a re-release of Sin, called Sin Reloaded. So Sin has a really interesting history. I believe it is considered the first game to be unplayable on launch.
Wow.
Yeah, the original Sin, not the original Sin.
Yeah, I was gonna throw something in there, but
It has nothing to do with baptism. But Sin was a game that infamously required a patch upon, with a botched printed game. So that had a botched launch, as well as it was considered at the time to be a little underwhelming compared to the hype. But it was then again, it was remastered with what was called Sin Episodes, and it was one of those early games to try the episodic format after Telltale pioneered it. And I think they didn't make enough money to make all of the episodes, so that was
just
botched
release
too.
your fucking game, dude. Like, do you remember how episodic games used to be before that?
Oh, it's just shareware. Yeah.
Yeah, episode 1 was shareware, which meant it was free, and if you buy the game, it's all the episodes.
Yeah.
Like, there you go.
Yeah.
That's what episodic games should be now. Like, episode 1 or part of episode 1 is a demo, and then the real game is like all 3 or 5 or 6 whatever.
Well,
Like Wolfenstein is 6 episodes, Doom is 3, and then 4 episodes.
Telltale kind of did that for a while. What they would do is they would make the first episode free, and then you would pay for the rest of them once all of them were out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, once all of them were out, like, that's the big difference, is that they actually released them episodically instead of, we have them, here's one.
Yeah.
Like, so that's why it's very annoying when they don't have a guarantee that they'll finish their fucking game. Like, here's episode 2 out of X. Yeah. It's just annoying.
But the good thing about this is that, looking back on it, a lot of people actually, outside of its problems, remember it fondly. It's actually probably has a better reception now than when it was released. It's like one of those titles. So I think there are some people that are genuinely looking forward to this. So that's pretty cool.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people are. It's just like, oh, remember this?
Yeah.
And if you don't, then new game.
Yeah. And going along with that, we have quite a few other announcements here. Outside that was pretty much it for the 3D Realms live stream event. But that's quite a few titles announced all at once. So there is an early access game called Overkill on Steam right now. It's a first-person shooter, boomer shooter, kind of like what we've been talking about.
I already beat that a bunch of times. It's called Having of the Dead.
This is a really cool first-person shooter, though. So I think it's called Overkill. Maybe I'm getting that wrong.
It was Overkill or Ultrakill?
Ultrakill. I'm sorry. I meant Ultrakill. That's my bad.
Yeah, because the mistake you were making, I made the same one for Ultrakill. I was confusing it with Ultracore. I was like, wasn't that a side scroller, not a first person? Oh.
Yeah, Ultrakill. I'm sorry, but this game is really neat. And a lot of people are singing its praises. It's early access, but it's on sale this weekend. Probably going away after this weekend. So probably tomorrow that deal will be gone. But it's overwhelmingly positive already. So when the full release comes out, it'll be just amazing. But it has really cool things like it has parry mechanics. There's shotgun parrying in the game.
Wait, is it like Bloodborne, where an enemy rushes you and you shoot him at just the right time and it stuns them?
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah, there's shotgun parrying. It has really fast movement, a lot of jump patty kind of stuff. It's very low poly, but it's very stylistic. It's very fast moving. This is probably going to be one of the coolest first-person shooters to be released in a really long time. And the full release is probably coming along, but the early access of this just came out, and I bought it because it's very reasonable at its discounted price. It's $16. So, but of course you can get in on the ground floor here and have some input on it. That's kind of the cool thing about early access. But I think this is already a highly regarded game, so I certainly recommend it. Like a lot of the people in the first-person shooter community are really, really, really digging it. So I certainly like the way it looks. Also, the team behind Postal announced another game called Postal Brain Damaged. Yeah.
So is this Postal 3 or Postal 4?
No, there's a Postal 4, but that's still coming out. But this is another game.
Okay.
Yeah. Postal 4 is being made. There is a Postal 3. Once again, I think this is made with bad it's made with this kind of malice that I don't understand, like this early like late 90s edginess that I just don't get.
Well, speaking of late 90s, I mean the game's title, when's the last time you've heard of going postal?
Yeah.
Like at this point, post office workers are like, at least the ones in my area are like the calmest people in the world, probably precisely because of like people doing things to combat the stress that postal workers had back in the day, where they would shoot up their own offices. That's what going postal means. You finally go berserk and like kill your boss or something. So now we got a whole game series based on it, and like you have to like.
It's always been a mean-spirited series.
Yeah, like you don't have to get the title, but that's what the title means.
Yeah.
Like you might just not like. Why is it called Postal? There's nothing with the post, but that's not the point.
Yeah, usually the major objective is something very simple that you could just do. Like
it's like, do you remember that game Hatred that came out a few years ago? That it was like a spiritual successor to Postal. It was like the same general concept, where like the game itself was just like, just shoot up a bunch of guys, but like everyone was kind of like when it came out. But Postal was that before that.
Yeah, I never got behind this series. I mean, like the entire concept is that it's a big sandbox to do like pretty mean-spirited things, like pee on things and.
Yeah, it's basically like Grand Theft Auto if you don't feel like following the plot. You know, like I'm bored. I want to just like shoot a bunch of pedestrians.
But without the fun physics of that, you know.
Well, it's not even without the fun physics. It's just like that's the point of the game. Instead of like people got mad at Grand Theft Auto because of what it allowed players to do, but with Postal is what players are supposed to do. Yeah.
So this one is particularly even for Postal, mean-spirited. It's right on the cover. Brain damage is making fun of the mentally ill. It takes place in a care facility, and like the major the major gif is you just or the player character just smacking an elderly person in the face with a shovel. I mean, it's
that does feel very like early 2000s, late 90s kind of like. Bet you didn't think we put this in a game.
I'm all for like ribald humor and off-color humor. I don't think I'm a stick in the mud. I am not. But this particular brand of humor is just something I am way past in my life.
Yeah, like there are certain things, like I mean, like I enjoy tons of collateral damage in my like blow shit up games, but like there are certain, like it's the attitude of how it's conveyed. Like, do you remember Naughty Bear on the PS3?
Yeah, I have no problem with Naughty Bear.
I actually kind of do, because like everything in that game is stuffed animals, so like how violent could you really get? But like it just felt like I mean, I know it's called Naughty Bear. Like, what did you think the game was going to be? You know, shame on me. But, like, it really feels like you're being an asshole, like, just to be an asshole. It got to a point where I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not getting anything out of this.
Also, I tend to really hate the fan bases of these kinds of things. They tend to be psychotic. So...
Yeah, finally, my avenue to... shoot up a fucking care facility.
Exactly. And the defenders of that kind of stuff, I tend to be people I don't want to associate with. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, the only people who ever complain about interfering with their ability to exercise their free speech are the ones who are using it to be shits.
Yeah.
Why do you think people have a problem with this in the first place? No, it's not illegal, but fuck you anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to spend much more time on that. I just wanted to quickly say something about it. I know there's been a lot of some things that I needed to talk about here, but I want to move on to something depressing, but certainly understandable. So the developer Vlambeer, this is the makers of Nuclear Throne in particular, but also Luftrausers, which is also a great game, Super Crate Box, which is also a fun little game, and a Ridiculous Fishing, which is probably one of the best mobile titles that I've ever played, announced that they are closing.
Yeah, that is a shame.
It's understandable, though. I mean, they were a successful studio, and especially considering that they released a great title like Nuclear Throne. Nuclear Throne is obviously the game that has the most meat here.
Yeah, that was the roguelike.
Yeah, it's a roguelike game, similar to Enter the Gungeon, but not nearly as complex as Enter the Gungeon, obviously. But
yeah, Nuclear Throne does get more complex than you would think. There are definitely some shenanigans going on if you get deeper into that game, but like Gungeon and Isaac level. Like really just exploded.
Gungeon has so much more content than Nuclear Throne does, but it's Nuclear Throne is still a great game and very much worth your time if you like that kind of thing. And they only recently put out a port of that to the Switch, which is what everybody was really hoping they would do. They announced that they're closing, so it stinks, but they're a two-man team, so they probably have their own things that they want to do, or they probably want to move on to maybe doing something different, or maybe a place where they can have like their own benefits, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's only two guys, so it's very understandable. And I'm not sure on the sales figures on all of those games. I mean, I think Ridiculous Fishing sold really well, but it's one of those games that did not withstand like one of those upgrade apocalypses. You can't play it on your devices anymore. Unfortunately.
And it's a shame because Nuclear Throne got the indie box treatment, and it even was one of those GameStop titles in the little steelbooks.
Yeah.
Do you remember those? GameStop tried that for a hot minute.
Yeah, I think I might try to track down a physical copy of Nuclear Throne in particular because I really like that game. I think it's a lot of fun. But yeah, it's a shame, but understandable given the size of the team. Also, I usually announce the Arcade Archives titles that are being announced for or released on the Switch. Contra is now available a la carte. It was previously available as part of the Contra collection on Switch, but you can buy it on its own. The arcade version of Contra. I'm sorry.
No, just why not?
Yeah, why not?
I only want that one, so there you go.
I don't recommend it. As a gigantic Konami fan and a gigantic Contra fan, the games to play are the NES versions of Contra and Super C. The arcade versions are disappointing if you go back to them because they don't control nearly as tightly, and they have less content. So and they're harder, much harder, in the wrong way. You had a title here that you wanted to go over.
Yeah, really quickly. I mean, we've already talked about this, but the creators of Until Dawn and Man of Medan are making the next game in... I mean, Until Dawn was not part of this series, but for the follow-up to Man of Medan, there's another dark... I forgot what it's called, Dark Anthology or something.
Sure.
But there's going to be the game Little Hope, which Man of Medan even teased directly. We finally got a release trailer for that, so that game will be out on October 30th, so just in time for Halloween.
Oh, I'm certainly happy that game is getting a release because it seems like their mini titles have been like selling well enough to continue to.
Yeah, like at the budget price, I think Man of Medan was like $40 or $50, and Little Hope is going to be like 30 or 40 or something.
I think these games have been streaming hits, so they've been doing well in that space.
Well, yeah, they're great in that regard. Like the whole thing with that game is like again, except for what the revelation of what's really happening to your characters is, you can't spoil who lives or who dies because the whole gimmick of the game is everyone could live, everyone could die. Like it all depends on how you play. So you can't go, oops, turns out Jimmy dies. Like, well, maybe not. That's the beauty of these things.
That's really cool. Yeah. Moving on from that, I just wanted to say that we've been talking about this title for a while, but Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 that was newly released, and the reception is fantastic.
You know what my brother told me, because I had a question about this, which I kind of joked about last week, because it's of utmost importance. But remember how you would always collect the secret tape?
Oh, sure.
Well, the HD release on Steam that no longer exists, you would get the secret DVD.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are you doing? Are you getting the tape? Are you getting the DVD? Have they gone to Blu-ray? Even it's the tape. They're back to
awesome.
tapes.
I was hoping they would do that.
Yeah.
So, apparently these are the best versions of these games, which is very happy. I'm very, very happy to hear because.
Yeah, and my brother will be especially happy because he played Pro Skater 1, 2 he had on PC, but 1 he played on 64.
Yeah.
And the PS1 version is like objectively better. So now you get the full experience.
Yeah. Was it Digital Foundry Retro did a really good retrospective on all the different versions of these two games, and they basically definitively crowned the new one as like the best version.
Yeah, the Xbox version I think was the way to go for a while.
Yeah, and that was a pretty obscure release because it was a launch title, I believe. So
yeah, it was like Tony Hawk Pro Skater X 2X, or something like that.
2X.
2X, okay.
Yeah. So this is really cool news because this could be easily botched and has been botched before. So
yeah, again, the HD Steam release, like that's just what everyone wanted, and it was botched.
Yeah. So it's glad to hear that a classic game that's emblematic of a particular era. This is like one of those games. Tony Hawk 1 and 2 are certainly titles that if you look back on the PlayStation 1, you're going to want to play, and you're going to want to recommend like the best games of the era. Tony Hawk Pro Skaters 1 and 2 are on that list, along with like Metal Gear Solid.
Those are high-quality titles.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, those are high-quality titles.
Yeah, along with like, Metal Gear Solid and, your Final Fantasy games of that era. They're all up there. So it's really good to see that they got a fantastic upgrade and preservation treatment for sure. So I'm really excited to see that. Also, I just had a couple little things that I wanted to go over before we end the show. So this is pretty neat. Every once in a while I go over some hacks that have been getting released here in the fan community and in the retro community. And F-Zero GP Legend, which is one of the GBA games, it's the second F-Zero GBA game, is based actually on the anime of F-Zero, which is short-lived.
Oh yeah, that thing that if you've seen any of it, you've seen the one clip where he finally Falcon punches Norio Wakamoto.
Oh, yeah. But
where his helmet comes off and he does the super Falcon punch like in space.
But it's a pretty decent game, and kind of a forgotten F-Zero game, but it was actually pretty good. It had a bunch of Japanese exclusive e-reader levels that were extremely rare. You need to like pick them out up in card packs. And
yeah, Japan had a lot of those cards.
Yeah, even the US ones are hard to find, but this feature was even taken out of the US version. So, so like we didn't even have a shot at it. So for the longest time, they were trying.
You'd have to like import a game that you already could get on the store shelf.
Apparently, like 3 of the levels were extremely difficult to track down. Like nobody had them, nobody preserved them. So what ended up happening was the community got together and preserved the final 3 levels and came out with a hack that added them all to the North American version, like in total. So like you could just straight up play the entire game now in English. So that's really, really awesome. I love it when stuff like that happens. It's really, really cool. Also, a new Sega Saturn English translation for a game called Valhollian was announced, which is it looks like it's an action RPG by the same people that delivered us the translation for Link Liver Story. So I just wanted to throw that out real quick. And we also have a couple Adult Swim pieces of news. So first was an announcement of a 13-episode Shenmue anime out of
I can't even believe that.
Out of fucking nowhere. With
like, did anybody demand this? Like Shenmue,
I don't even want it.
Yeah, like the big hype for Shenmue was finally making Shenmue 3, and it ended up being a disappointment. So now, like, what's the anime going to be? Is it going to be where something happens?
Well, my big issue with it is that like the gimmick of the whole reason to play Shenmue is to experience it, not like the actual story really.
Yeah, the actual story is actually engaging, but yeah, like Shenmue 1, which I honestly really don't like for this reason, is basically like you're living Ryo's
it's a simulation.
Life. Yeah, you're getting allowance. You're going to your forklift job. You're going to like stores and being able to buy gachapons. Yeah, it's like, whoa, I can't believe I could do this mundane stuff in a video game. So like the anime would probably just be moving the plot along, which I would actually
hope.
fucking like to see after 3 fucking games. But like at the same time, yeah, you're missing what the game is.
Yeah, this is being collaborated with Crunchyroll, so I don't know what to expect of it. To be honest,
I expect. Well, actually, I do hope that whatever moves are done in fights are like very realistic, because Shenmue 1, like not like over animeized, because Shenmue 1 and 2 really emphasized exactly how to do the moves and what they're for and what effect they'll have on the opponent. I don't want to just see like, Shenmue Ryo kick with the gradient background from the 90s and then the guy goes flying, because that's not what Shenmue is. Shenmue's all about, I mean, it gets into mysticism, but it's largely realistic.
Yeah. And also, this is a bummer, and unfortunately, a likely scenario and likely rumor. Apparently, a person named Ken Plume, who is friends with the creators of the Venture Brothers, and also put together one of their art books recently. So a person that would know about this said in a thread on like shows that were untimely canceled, he put Venture Brothers, and people were like, "What?" Like, because that hasn't been an announcement or anything.
Yeah, I really hope that's not true, because Venture Brothers is consistently good. It's like Rick and Morty. It takes forever to come out with a new season, but when it does, the episodes are amazing, and there's actually like overarching story that carries over. Like there is a progression to the show, so it would be a real damn shame if it came to an end.
The quality's really, really good.
The quality's consistently high, yes.
That would be a big shame. I mean, they had always said that they wanted to do 9 seasons, so it's nearing that. They're in, I think they're in production on their 8th season right now. Okay. So I don't know what he meant by that. He also said, "I have no further comment." So he probably did say something that he wasn't supposed to, likely. But also, it wasn't from the horse's mouth. It was from somebody close to the horse's mouth.
It's from the guy. Yeah, it's from the horse's friend's mouth. The other horse.
I mean, he would know. We don't know what that means. So we don't know whether we're getting that 8th season. We don't, in finished. I don't know whether. Whether it's true or not or whatever. It'd be a big shame either way, because that's one of those shows that you would absolutely want them to end the way that they wanted it to, because it has a complex story, and it's also so good. I hope that's not the case. I mean, why not just give them that Shenmue money? I would. the budget from that Shenmue anime. I mean, I am a Sega dork. I am a Dreamcast dork. I like the idea of Shenmue. But
I will say this: have you played Shenmue 2?
No, that's probably the best game in the series, right?
Man, I played Shenmue 1 on the Dreamcast. I thought it was okay, but when I played it more recently on the PS4, I was having a pretty miserable time, so it took me a long time to finally start playing Shenmue 2, but when I did, that game is so much better.
No, it's
like Shenmue game. If there were actually gameplay.
It's a good game from everybody that I've talked to, and it was one that we didn't get officially for a very long until the Xbox.
I know that this is like a stupid thing to say because it sounds like it's a given, but it's apparently not. But in Shenmue 2, when you go out to town, today's the day I have to do this plot thing. When you do the plot thing, like, you can then move on to, like, prepare for the next plot thing. Instead of, well, that's what I'm doing today, now to wait out the clock until it's time to go to bed and come back the next day. Like, that was fucking painful in Shenmue 1.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in Shenmue 2, you can play the fucking game.
Yeah, I mean, you're really supposed to use that time to explore and go into places.
You are, but, like, goddamn. Yeah.
I also finally my final thing here is that I just wanted to do a follow up and say that I did watch Bill and Ted 3, and I'm very happy to say that I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it's gotten generally positive reception, which is great. Because like a sequel made like 20 years later, or 30 or whatever, like it sounds like well, this is gonna suck, but apparently it really is quite
There
good.
are plenty of those that are disappointing. I mean, like when Dumb and Dumber 2 came out, I was not a big fan of it.
Yeah, the best part about that movie was this title.
Yeah.
TOO, Dumb and Dumber 2.
Yeah,
I get a kick out of that.
But it had a couple good moments, but it wasn't the same. But actually, Bill and Ted 3 might it was really solidly written, and it had a few laugh out loud moments. Like the first two movies are very entertaining and they're funny, but they're not like laugh out loud funny. They're like, you know, interesting and weird and fun, but they're not like, you know, like there's not like a joke in there unless it like hits you just right that will make you laugh out loud. Well, Bill and Ted 3 actually had like a couple really laugh out loud moments.
Nice.
This movie certified fresh, and like it was like it actually really surprised me. I went into it expecting to like it, but it actually still exceeded my expectations, which is always a great thing. And I was just expecting to be underwhelmed. You know, even though I was excited.
What helps is that it was written by the same people.
Written by the same people, produced by the same people, acted by the same people. The people that it was really a passion project, and you could tell.
Well, yeah, that's probably why it was good. Instead of like, you know what, let's bring back some '80s nostalgia. Let's make another Bill and Ted movie. Like, no, they've been wanting to make a Bill and Ted 3 forever.
Yeah, and they brought back a lot of the concepts of the first two movies. Like they didn't like exclude anything. No, this stuff is all part of the universe, which is pretty cool. And if you buy it from Microsoft, like if you purchase it like on the Xbox, or you know, if you want to watch it on your computer, you get like the first season of the animated series, which is really cool because it was voiced by the actors. It was voiced by like Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter back in the day.
That's pretty great.
So it's just like a cool little extra. But you had this last thing. I didn't get a chance to experience this quite yet.
Yeah, this was bizarre, but like we've already talked about the Gorillaz new song machine songs. The most recent of which was called Pac-Man, which is probably my favorite among them.
Really,
that thing is a freaking banger.
It's a good song. It's probably my second or third favorite. But yeah,
I quite like it. But over the past few days, they've been releasing lyric videos where it's just a still background, except that the lyrics pop up.
It's like an alternate like video version.
Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes they've done that with their other videos, like the visualizers, where it's just some kaleidoscopic background with a song. Like, okay, you know, it's not the music video; it's just the song.
It's just like a cheaper produced kind of thing.
Just chill out, yeah. So they've been doing lyric videos for their song machine, but some of the lyrics are suspect to the point where like that's the entire comment section. Like there's one line in there that says like "throw me in the lion den," but the second time it's sung, or no, it's "throw me in the lion pit," but the second time it's sung, like when 2D sings it, it's LIME, the lime pit. Like it's little things like that. Or like there's this one part where it says like, "you could call me cracked, you could call me mad and psycho," but instead of mad and psycho, it says glad and cyborg, and it's like, I refuse to believe that that's what it says. Like, psycho or stifled or cyborg, like, that's fucking bizarre, but like mad to glad, even if you listen for it. Like, oh, the word was glad and not mad. I am listening for the word glad now, and you still don't hear it, so people are wondering if we're being trolled.
I mean,
and like one of the comments says like, "we are experiencing the Mandela effect in real time." it's like amazing.
I wouldn't put it in past it
really
because
weird.
Like Damon Albarn has a history of like not clarifying.
Every comment is this.
He has a history of not clarifying what exactly the lyrics are in Gorillaz songs, or explaining them as well.
And there's another thing. Like, do you remember that part? Like, "I'm stressing out, I'm stressing out, I'm stressing out." The lyrics say "no stressing out," and everybody calls bullshit. Like this is really weird.
Yeah, I think he's intentionally muddling it. You know, because he just doesn't care. He doesn't care whether you know what it says or not.
Like most of the time, the comments are like, oh my god, new Gorillaz song. There's like 3 of those. Everything else is calling into question one verse or another. Like, it can't be Lime Pit, can it? Like, this is amazing.
Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't put it past them. They also always kind of have a comical edge to them anyway. So
you could call me Glad and Cyborg. Nobody wrote that. Like, this is absurd.
Also, several of their songs, like people have tried to like parse meaning to them, and like in the Demon Days like or the biography, which has like the band's history in it, fake history. Like I think Murdoch straight up says like, people have been trying to parse together the lyrics of this one song that we made, and it really was just from a random word generator.
Well, no, I mean, well, I doubt they went with a random word generator, but I mean, I can believe that kind of thing though.
Sure.
Like, I don't mind that there's no meaning, and it's like Yes, where it's about the sound of the words. Like, I can buy that, but like
or whatever, you know.
Yeah, like, I can buy that. Like, we sang this word because it sounds good to the ear, whether you know English or not. Like, that I don't mind. But, like, the lyrics written down don't sound like the actual words they're singing.
Yeah.
Like, they're just like, fucking with us.
No, that's
this isn't like
that's typical.
This isn't the fans going, oh, these lyrics are weird. It's the fans going, I don't think these are the actual lyrics. It's really weird.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not surprised. not one bit. Being a Gorillaz fan ever since it came out. So, anything else, Lotus, before we wrap this up? I know we went a little long here, but it was well-deserved.
Yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay, so that is the show for this week, folks. We want to thank you for listening, of course, and please remember to subscribe to the Corrective Consciousness YouTube and Soundcloud pages. I almost thanked you for your comments and questions, which is the next show. Well,
thank you anyway.
Thank you anyway. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. That helps promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Thursday for our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, the podcast where we explore the inanity of pop culture. And Lotus, we're finally getting to that 6th Castlevania episode.
Oh my god.
Oh boy. Finally, you can friend me as vysethebold on pretty much everything.
And you can follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, getting in on exclusive live streams, selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, or getting in conversations with me and other patrons on Discord, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
Okay, everybody, we will catch you on Thursday then. See you then.
Until next time, everyone.
Bye-bye.